Who is not ready on January 15, 2012? The B-1 bomber flying overhead at the end of our Star-Spangled Banner on this cold day in Lambeau Field. Down to the field we go. First up, Pam Oliver.
Well, Joe, the Giants aren't exactly shaking in their boots. Wide receiver Hakeem Nicks telling me that we do not feel that the Packers exactly have a great advantage on us. We have been playing and we are hot while they have been resting. Linebacker Michael Boley also telling me that we are not intimidated by Aaron Rodgers and all of those offensive weapons. He also is telling me that this team we feel like we can beat. Now for more on the Packers, let's go over to Chris Myers.
Well, Pam, the ever-calm Aaron Rodgers trotted by extra excited, making his first ever postseason start here at Lambeau. Meanwhile, in the pregame warm-up moments ago, some of the Packer players telling me how emotionally important it was to have offensive coordinator Joe Philbin back. Joe's son died this week. Philbin first spoke to the team yesterday and thanking them for their support, and in an emotional gathering telling them the Packers are his family also, and that's why he had to be here today. Let's go back upstairs to Troy and Joe.
All right, Chris and Pam, thank you. So Joe Philbin in his normal spot. We get ready for football with Crosby about to kick it away, and Jernigan, the rookie, waiting for the Giants. Off we go. And the Giants will start at the 20. Eli Manning has had a fantastic season any way you look at it. You see what he did last week in the wild card win over the Atlanta Falcons with 3 touchdowns. Even picked up a big third down with his legs. Taking on the last ranked defense, the Green Bay Packers. It's Bradshaw to start the day, and it's B.J. Raji. Gain of 1. So they start, Troy, with a run, and last week the ground game such a big factor, one of their best days in a long while for the Giants over the Falcons.
Well, and even Eli Manning talked about it last week and what it has meant to him. You think over the last 6 ball games, 5 of those they've rushed for over 100 yards. As we know, the New York Giants like to run the ball, but off of that, they really enjoy the play-action passing game. That's been better during this stretch when they've run the ball well.
On 2nd down and 9, another run. Not much. Pickett made the play on Bradshaw. A gain of 1 again, and now David Boss starts to mix it up with some of the members of that Green Bay defense. Yeah, they give up a lot of yards, but they take the ball away better than any team other than the 49ers this season.
Well, if you think about the Packers defensively this year, that really has been one of the few things that they've done well, and it's been important because they've been able to get the ball back to their offense.
And a timeout taken by the Giants.
If there was a substitution issue with potentially 12 men in the huddle, but Eli Manning calls the timeout, didn't have to because there, as you said, Joe, there was time on the play clock, and then he never even went over to the sidelines to talk it over with the staff.
We saw that yesterday in the 49er game. Too many men in the huddle now. 3rd down and 8. Blitz coming. Manning throws on the run and has a first down to Manningham. Big game last week for Mario Manningham, and the first completion good for 19 and a first down.
Well, they run a twist here. You're going to see the pressure then in the middle of that offensive line with Eli Manning, but they were giving help to the outside receivers, and then along that sideline, as you see, is where the hole in that zone is. And Mario Manningham is able to get into that hole, and because Eli was flush to that side, he's able to make a good throw for the first down.
On 1st down, play action. Plenty of room for Manning as he finds Victor Cruz. And Cruz has a first down at the 8 for an 18-yard completion and he takes it into Green Bay territory.
That game last week, Victor Cruz drew a lot of attention from the Atlanta Falcons, and rightfully so, and even he admitted that he was nervous in that ball game, his first postseason game, and felt that he would come out in this game and be much more relaxed. It's a nice way for him to start this game to get a completion here early.
This Green Bay defense gave up more passing yardage during the course of the regular season than any team in the history of the league. Manning going back up top again. Underthrows his tight end Ballard, and it was Bishop who was in a perfect position, almost had a pick.
It's a nice play there by Bishop, being able to get underneath that throw and then make a play on the ball. Initially, Eli Manning was hoping to be able to get a throw down the middle on the deep post. You think back to the last time these two teams met, Joe, a lot of big plays in that game, both for the New York Giants as well as the Green Bay Packers.
Now 2nd and 10. On 2nd down, Manning throws it in the direction of Ballard out of his reach. And he was under heavy pressure with Woodson coming on a blitz. 3rd and 10.
Well, even in our visit with Charles Woodson yesterday, he talked about this is what he likes to do. Of course, when you think about when the Packers were really rolling last year, Charles Woodson was always around the ball. He was coming on the blitzes and disrupting things in the backfield. As you can see, Eli Manning, it looked to me like he thought that that was going to get protected and he was going to have more time than he had.
Packers show blitz and they come. Manning throws and has a completion to Cruz for another Giants first down. They needed 10. He got 11. And Victor Cruz, who is one of the biggest surprises, if not the biggest surprises in the NFL, has another Giant first down.
And this play here is really what they wanted from him when the season began. In the slot, 3rd down, the 3rd wide receiver. Can he win on the inside route when they're taking away the outside receivers? He was one-on-one with Charles Woodson. Woodson stumbled as Victor Cruz was coming out of that route, but another big 3rd down conversion for the Giants.
Eli Manning has been so good on 3rd down these last 3 games. As Bradshaw picks up 3, the numbers are unbelievable for Manning. What he's been able to do on 3rd down. He's been one of the best fourth quarter quarterbacks in the NFL, and on 3rd down, his passer rating is through the roof. As they've beaten the Jets, the Cowboys, and the Falcons in succession. Rating of over 142 on 3rd down. Now 2nd and 7. Another blitz. Giants pick it up. First down as Beckham makes the catch. And this impressive opening drive by the Giants continues. Travis Beckham is good for 10.
Blitz pick up here by Ahmad Bradshaw. He comes up and he doesn't wait. You see, he goes and gets him and he upends him, and so that allows Eli Manning to feel pretty confident sitting in the pocket and deliver a nice throw. You talk about this drive right now by the New York Giants. The biggest thing is it's keeping that guy over there on the sidelines. Tom Coughlin talked about the importance of time of possession and felt that when this game ends, whoever wins that is probably going to be the one who won the game.
His 10th play of the drive as Bradshaw carries a nice gain on 1st down as he gets 4. A.J. Hawk on the stop for Green Bay.
Well, we've seen the Giants on this drive run the ball from a lot of different formations, but more importantly from a lot of different personnel packages. They've run it from 3 wide receivers. They've run it from 2 tight ends. Heck, they even brought in an extra offensive lineman there on the 2nd down play with Tony Hugo. They're trying to figure out what it's going to take in order for them to have some success running the ball on the ground.
2nd and 6. Just got the play away as Bradshaw slides along the line and Hawk makes the tackle A gain of just 1. Third down coming up.
That's a nice job by A.J. Hawk and being able to recognize the play. And those guys up front for this Packers defensive front, they keep the guys off of him. So A.J. Hawk then, all he has to do is recognize the play and then come up and make the tackle. Not an easy thing to do against Ahmad Bradshaw.
Nix at the bottom of the screen against Tramon Williams on 3rd and 5. Manning slides away from pressure and throws incomplete. And the Green Bay defense stops the Giants in the red zone.
Looks like Eli Manning was trying to go to Victor Cruz again in the slot, and Charles Woodson passes him up, but you see they're playing inside out on Victor Cruz, and then Eli Manning just had to get it out of his hands and really know where to go with the football. So even though that was a really nice drive by the New York Giants, for the Packers to be able to not give up a touchdown and force them to a field goal attempt, that's good work.
31-yard try by Tynes, who drills it. And that impressive opening drive by the Giants, they showed a little bit of everything, comes up with 3 here at Lambeau. Opening drive took almost 6.5 minutes off the clock. Eli Manning and this Giants offense in some ways want to take the air out of the ball, as you talked about, try and keep Aaron Rodgers on the sideline, which they did. They come up with 3 points. Eli had 2 more big completions on 3rd and long, and now a difference maker from a year ago when the Packers won it all and made their march. The win in Super Bowl 45 is Randall Cobb, the rookie, and he will take it out and make it just across the 20. Looks like the ball may have come out at the bottom of that pile. And no signal yet. Giants think they have it. And they do.
As we know, Joe, I mean, Randall Cobb has put the ball on the ground, in the return game, and that wasn't lost on Tom Coughlin coming into this game. He talked about the impact of field position. Let's see now if Randall Cobb's right elbow, which it was, the right elbow was on the ground. It looked to me, Joe, before the ball came out, and this will be overturned if, in fact, Mike McCarthy challenges it, which I'm sure he will.
I agree with you. He's looking up at the scoreboard. And we'll go through the formality of throwing that flag. Kind of silly, isn't it? I mean, can't you just say I challenge the play?
Challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble.
Here it is.
The whole notion of this red flag is kind of silly anyway.
They'll take a look. The right arm, the right elbow appeared down for Cobb. We'll get the call when we come back. Bill Levy is our referee today. We'll get the call from him right now.
After reviewing the play, the runner's right knee was down. Eli still had possession of the ball. First down, Green Bay on the 21-yard line. Green Bay will not be charged a timeout.
So Cobb, who put the ball on the ground once this season as a kick returner, 2 times as a punt returner. When you widen out, you can see the right knee is down and the elbow down, an easy overturn. Remember early in the year we talked to Mike McCarthy about ball control issues with Cobb. He said, I've been waiting for a kick returner for a long time. He's going to keep doing it. Almost a big mistake to start his day. So now starting just across their own 20. Nice start for Grant. Out near the 40. Forced out by Kenny Phillips in a 19-yard run for a running back who has been red hot in the final month of the year.
Well, they bring up the extra defender to the left side there offensively, and they run the ball opposite of him. So even though there's an extra defender to help play run support, that extra defender wasn't where the ball was run. Nice first play there for the Packers.
So on first down, first throw, Rodgers slings it. A dangerous pass with Jermichael Finley diving for it, came up empty. Kenny Phillips was in coverage for the Giants. You can look at any one of a number of stats in a record-setting year, whether it's individually, Troy, for Aaron Rodgers, or as a group. We picked the touchdown passes for this offense.
It was an efficient year, really all season long for this offense, and then all those touchdown passes weren't Aaron Rodgers. Remember Matt Flynn, the last game of the season
gave the Packers 6 in a record-setting day against the Lions. Here's a catch by Jennings, and Jennings brought down right at the marker. It's a first down. Here's that previous play, and Kenny Phillips with a forearm to the helmet of Jermichael Finley. No call.
Yeah, definitely should have been a flag there on a defenseless receiver.
Flip! 319!
Fake the handoff, rolling to his right, and slinging it for Finley, who's got a first down inside the 35.
Things you want to do as an offense, if you're playing against a team that can apply pressure to the quarterback, move the pocket a little bit. They get Aaron Rodgers outside of the pocket off of the bootleg, and Jermichael Finley, someone who Mike McCarthy expected to elevate his play from where he was when the season ended, is off to a nice start.
Here's that up tempo, right back to the line of scrimmage with Rodgers calling the play at the line. They fake the delayed handoff, and Rodgers finds a man, but it's dropped by Finley, who has been struggling with the drops coming off that knee surgery and the injury last October.
Well, yeah, Jermichael Finley has had a number of drops this season, and that's he's just lost some confidence, and was really looking for him to come out and have a nice game here today. We saw the catch that he made a couple plays ago, but an easy catch, and yet he had another drop.
Rodgers drops it off. That's Grant, and the former Giant is brought down by roll after a gain of 2.
And we've seen now Green Bay go to a lot of the no huddle and try to run an up-tempo pace offensively, and right now they're huddling because of the significance here on third down.
They're inside field goal range for Crosby. Mike McCarthy said he wanted to test the fitness level and the endurance of this Giants defense here today. Just getting it away. Rodgers has a pocket. Wide open, but overthrown is Jennings. And Aaron Rodgers missed one there. It's fourth down.
Well, you're going to see in the middle of the field here, Scott Wells does a good job, and there's no inside pressure. So even though the Giants are able to get a little bit going on the outside, Rodgers was able to step up. A good route by Greg Jennings, and really a ball that got away from Aaron Rodgers a little bit. Jennings was expecting that ball on his inside shoulder. He let him outside, and a missed opportunity.
Crosby from 47 ties it at 3. And now the Packers offense goes to the sideline. Aaron Rodgers goes over there thinking about what might have been. It's 3 instead of 7. Tied at 3. Two teams trade field goals, and for that first possession for the Packers, the first play was a 19-yard run by Ryan Grant. And 6 straight pass plays that stalled as Crosby hit from 47. Jernigan on a bounce will take a knee. We'll take a break. Giants back on offense. Tie game at Lambeau. Divisional playoff weekend. First 2 possessions, kind of what you expect these days in the NFL. Defenses will be judged differently with all these offensive records being broken week after week. You give up yards, you take risks, try and clamp down in the red zone which is what the Packers did the first time the Giants had it. Now an incompletion starts this one to Ballard, at least in his direction at 2nd down and 10.
You know, it is interesting, Joe, and I think you're right. I think the way that you measure defenses now has changed, certainly from where it once was. But this was a Packers defense that last year was very good. They were 5th in the NFL in total defense. This year, of course, last in the league. And the only players they're without essentially are Nick Collins and then Colin Jenkins. But I think the loss of Jenkins in the middle has affected them the most. It's affected them with their pass rush, and even Charles Woodson talked about how that impacted them in the secondary.
Here's DJ Ware dragged down by Pickett, and a loss of 1, which will bring up 3rd and long for the Giants.
Well, that's the guy they're relying on to be able to slow down this running game of the New York Giants. And you see they pull Chris Snee, the right guard, and generally when you do that, then you've got to have the center locked down on him to keep him from being able to make that play on the backside like we just saw Ryan Pickett make.
Now 3rd and 11. Manning's been so good on 3rd down. Will that continue? He's got all day. Fires and has a completion. 1st down, Hakeem Nicks. And on 3rd and 11, a 15-yard completion from number 10.
Well, the Packers decide to go 3-man rush. Watch the wall of defenders that the Packers go back with. They've got 3 deep, but then they got linebackers underneath all of that. And so if given time, then you've got a receiver, Hakeem Nicks, who's able to find a hole, work back towards the quarterback, and pick up a 1st down.
Eli Manning has converted a 3rd and 8, a 3rd and 10, and a 3rd and 11 already. On 1st down, all day, wide open, pass complete. That's Nicks, and Hakeem Nicks inside the 10, touchdown Giants, no flags.
On that 3rd down play, Eli Manning had a lot of time. They only brought a 3-man rush on that particular play. On this one, they're in base defense, and Eli Manning has plenty of time. Now they get the completion to Nicks, but Charlie Pepper, the safety, comes in, and he's got to make that play. We see that around the league all year long. Safeties, linebackers trying to make tackles without using their arms. He thinks that a shoulder is going to be enough to get Nicks to the ground. It's not. Big play, New York Giants.
A lot of the focus has been on Victor Cruz all season because he came out of nowhere. Both he and Nicks were over 1,000 yards for the season. Nicks, big and strong, showed that strength. 66 yards, a touchdown, and the Giants lead on the road, 10-3. Hey, don't forget about me, says Hakeem Nicks, and a 72-yard touchdown last week against Atlanta. And now adds a 66-yarder here on the road at Lambeau Field. Cobb put it on the ground, but after his knee and elbow were down the first time, and this kickoff out of bounds. And that will give Aaron Rodgers a short field starting at the 40, and Tom Coughlin with that look. Like, you got to be kidding me. We've seen that look from Tom Coughlin over the years. It's good to see him on the sideline as opposed to the last time in the postseason here when it looked like he was going to lose his face because of the cold.
Well, he gets one more of those kicks by Lawrence Tynes, and he's going to lose a lot more than his face, I'll promise you. I mean, there's no excuse for that right there. Tom Coughlin trying to be upbeat and positive and encouraging. But your offense goes down and has a big play to score a touchdown, and then you spot this offense, the ball on the 40-yard line.
Sounded like you just got some of your frustration out from kickers in your past. As Rodgers hands to Grant. Got to the edge, and this guy who was maybe forgotten about after being injured early last year in game 1. And Wasn't there for that march to the Super Bowl. As I mentioned, he's been hot. Gets 5. He's averaging just under 6 yards per carry the final month of the year.
Well, he has been hot, and the question was what's the health going to be like with James Starks?
They go right back to him. And this time, the Giants defense stands him up no gain.
You know, if you think about it, James Starks was really the hot hand for most of the season, and but Mike McCarthy believes in a 2-back system, so they were going to share their carries. They did, but Ryan Grant had not been very productive until James Starks got injured and missed 3 of the last 4 games. Then Ryan Grant got hot, and even though Starks is suited up, ready to go, it'll be interesting to see how Mike McCarthy uses these 2 backs.
Whoa.
Now 3rd down and 5. Rodgers has room in front of him, and he'll pick it up. And these 2 teams met in early December in the Meadowlands. Rodgers was the top rusher for the Packers. He has a 1st down.
Yeah, well, John Kuhn here at running back, he gives a chip then to Jason Pierre-Paul, and obviously this is a real concern for the New York Giants with Aaron Rodgers. And when you cover everybody down the field, something that's not an easy task, you then still have to worry about his ability to pick up the yards.
Now 1st down to the sideline. Nelson working on Aaron Ross, and Jordy Nelson has another Green Bay 1st down. What a year it was for Jordy Nelson, who had over 1,200 receiving yards. He was number 9 in the league, and a great option for Aaron Rodgers as they hurry it up again. Jennings, that ball comes out. They're letting this play go, and Phillips has got the football. Right now, they're calling it a catch and a fumble. And we'll take a break and look at this one. Well, the Giants have to change the lineup they've got out there. One official overruled the other and said that this was knee down, no fumble, but it looked like the ball, Troy, was out before the knees were down. And now it's up to Tom Coughlin whether he wants to challenge, and he just did.
And I agree, Joe, that it looked to me like the ball came out before Greg Jennings was down. And so, yes, if in fact
the Giants are
down,
challenging the ruling on the field of a fumble.
Tom Coughlin, as he's challenging the call, so the Giants can still get possession of the ball. They just won't get the advancement then of the ball, so they'll lose some field position on this play if it's ruled that it was a fumble.
I mean, it is close. That first look looks like the ball is starting to come out before the knees were down, and it was bang, bang. Meanwhile, this is a team that just doesn't give the ball away. Green Bay had more wins than giveaways this season. They gave it away only 14 times. As of right now, it's Green Bay's ball, but that could change.
Well, Greg Jennings, he missed the last 3 games of the season with a knee sprain. Now, he could have played the last game of the season. He did not because it was not an important ball game for them. He feels fine coming into this game. I bring that up, Joe, because he's gone several weeks without being hit, in ball security and those types of things. Now, does that impact this particular play? It's a nice job there by Deion Grant, stripping Greg Jennings as he was going to the ground.
That ball's out. That is the best look that we have at that ball coming out. Before the elbow's down, before the knees are down, and at least in my opinion, the Giants are going to come away with a football.
Well, and you take a look at this first quarter here in the Packers' offensive possessions. The first drive, they go down the field. They have an opportunity really to come away with a touchdown, just a ball that gets away from Aaron Rodgers. The Giants, of course, get the big play. They go up 10-3. The Packers, again, driving the ball and doing a lot of good things offensively. I think the New Orleans Saints that are sitting at home, if they even are capable of watching this game today, are certainly relating to what just happened.
I know Mike Pereira is checking in with our producer Richie Zients and saying that because Bill Levy is under the hood as long as he is, they could be looking at where to put the ball. As you can see it come out prior to Jennings being down, and they could be looking for the spot.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. The New York Giants will be charged their first time out.
Coughlin can't believe it. I frankly can't either.
No, I can't either. And now, I mean, just think about it. Had initially one official ruled that it was a fumble, it got overturned, said no, the ruling was that he was down. But had that have been ruled a fumble as initially thought, I don't think that it's overturned in that sense either. But Joe, it sure looked to me like the ball was out.
Yeah, it's coming out. He's losing control of it before he's down. Movement up front could be a free play. Down the middle, incomplete. Penalty flags on the play. Greg Jennings, the intended receiver, and this one is against the Giants for an offside.
Offside. Number 95 defense. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Well, that's good work there by Aaron Rodgers using the hard count. He gets Rocky Bernard offsides, and knowing he has a free play, then takes a shot down the field with nothing to lose.
Under a minute and a half to go in this first quarter. Giants leading 10-3. Flushed out with Bernard chasing him, and this pass incomplete. It's 2nd and 10. James Jones, the intended receiver, could not secure it going to the ground.
We see Corey Webster, in most weeks he will go with the opposing team's best wide receiver. I know when visiting with Perry Fuel, he said he would not match him up in this game, primarily because the Green Bay Packers line up all of their receivers in a lot of different positions. But if he were to match up, most people would have thought that would have been Greg Jennings. Instead, Jordy Nelson is the guy that Perry Fuel said concerns him the most.
2nd down and 10. Pass is caught. Breaking free is Jones. And James Jones is wrestled down near the 10. A completion of 16 yards.
Well, the quick passing game by the Green Bay Packers, they're going to hit those things underneath. You then have to be able to make the tackle and not allow yards after the catch. Deion Grant came up and was just unable to make the play.
So how's this drive going to end after what looked like a fumble by Greg Jennings? Packers keep the ball, and now they've moved it to the 11. Here's Brandon Sane. Sane, the rookie out of Ohio State, gets 2. Jaquan Williams on the tackle for the Giants. So it's Sane instead of Starks getting worked in here in the first quarter. It'll be 2nd down and 8 when the second quarter begins here in Lambeau. Giants lead by 7. Packers have moved it inside the New York 10. Back after this from your local Fox station. You see what happened during the regular season. This is a team that's not used to being behind. Aaron Rodgers has started. We make that separation because of the Detroit game with Matt Flynn. With just over 3 minutes playing behind already. Double that. Now 2nd and 8. Rodgers keeps it underneath. Coon for the touchdown.
See John Kuhn here in the play action in the backfield. and Matthias Kiwanuka, he comes up to hit it. You've got a double on the outside with the safety in the corner, and that's why John Kuhn was as open in the underneath route as he was.
Had 2 touchdown catches during the regular season. This one good from 8 yards out, and we're tied at 10. If you go back to what happened on that drive, what looked like a fumble by Greg Jennings, Tom Coughlin challenged it. It looked to us like the ball was out before the knees were down. And to our surprise, Bill Levy looked at it, said no fumble. And we check in with our rules expert, Mike Pereira, in Los Angeles. What was your opinion on that play, Mike?
Well, I'll tell you, it's one person's judgment against another, but I'm on your side. I mean, to me, the ball is being ripped out. You know, there was indecision on the field when they made the call initially, so there was some question there. Now, they ended up ruling that the runner was down. But to me, look at how the ball is getting pulled out here before really the back of the leg, the calf comes down. You know, it is a judgment call. That's all we're doing. It's one human's judgment versus another, but I would have, if I was under the hood, I would have reversed this to a fumble with a clear recovery by the Giants and given the ball to the Giants.
All right, Mike, thank you. Instead, the Packers do what they do best. Move the ball after that, get it in the end zone with a touchdown pass to John Kuhn. And we're tied at 10. Here's an onside kick try. That didn't work. And on the recovery, it's Derek Martin. So now you talk about a short field. The Giants will have it just outside the Green Bay 40, and Derek Martin is there for the recovery for Tom Coughlin's Giants.
Well, that's an excellent job by the New York Giants and that staff. And if you look at these guys here and Derek Martin, they do not move. I mean, they do not start to retreat, anticipating the ball to be kicked deep. That's an excellent job on their part with the special teams, anticipating anything in a game like this and being ready for an onside kick.
So the former Packer Derek Martin is there for the recovery. And Eli Manning, who hasn't been pressured at all, drops it off, and there's Beckham again. He had his pro highlight in the first meeting on December 4th. Travis Beckham here is good for 12 after a 67-yard touchdown catch and run against Green Bay back at the Meadowlands in week 13.
Travis Beckham has gotten a lot of action here in this game, or at least a lot of playing time, and then of course he got the ball there, but he's been on the field for a lot of snaps, and he's a guy who, when this season began, they thought he was going to be the tight end making all those catches instead of Jake Ballard.
Here's Bradshaw. Nothing. Lost a yard as Ahmad Bradshaw was trying to find a hole, and eventually Jared Bush makes the stop.
A pretty interesting decision there by Mike McCarthy. You know, showing that he wanted to play this thing aggressively. We know that they wanted to play that way offensively, and he's carrying it right into the special teams. But to go onside after you get the touchdown and give the ball to this offense with a short field against a defense that obviously has had their problems.
Now on second down, Manning. No pressure at all, and underneath it's Bradshaw. Breaks free from one tackle. He went right through Sambo and gained 9. So third down and short coming up for Eli Manning.
I think that's one of the things that we've seen all year long, really, from Eli Manning is, one, he was afforded a lot of time right there, but he hasn't been forcing the throws that we saw a year ago. And so with great patience, comes down underneath, checks it down, and then you do sometimes have to have a guy break a tackle. And they were able to do that.
Third down and 2. Low snap, and this one incomplete. Devin Thomas, the intended target, with Shields on him. And a hold on 3rd down and 2 by this Packer defense.
Well, we've seen the Green Bay Packers bring the inside pressure with their linebackers, and the Giants, they're able to block it up. It's just a nice play there on the outside by Sam Shields.
And now on the same end of the field where Lawrence Tynes made that 47-yarder to send the Giants to the Super Bowl in the championship game in January of '08. He tries from 40, and this one's blocked. Brad Jones being congratulated along the sideline. Let's take a look. He got in and got his hands on it. Still tied at 10. No head coach talks more about special teams that we visit with than Tom Coughlin. Tom Quinn is special teams coordinator. His group is 1 for 3 today. They did recover an onside kick. The Tynes has kicked the kickoff out of bounds. And now they have a 40-yard field goal blocked. Rodgers escapes trouble. Penalty flag flies. And with Boley in his face, Rodgers goes down, a gain of 3.
Holding, number 63 offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
They get the center, Scott Wells, for a hold, and on this series, Marshall Newhouse is in at left tackle in place of Chad Clifton.
Yeah, and you see the hold there on Linville Joseph, against Linville Joseph. Scott Wells with the hold. But Chad Clifton actually he's held up pretty well, you know, there in that first quarter. It'll be interesting to see if they bring him back in or if they're just giving him a break.
First down and 20. Over the middle, pass caught by Cobb. And the rookie gets 11. Kenny Phillips on the stop.
We just haven't yet seen the Giants get any kind of pressure really to speak of on Aaron Rodgers.
On 2nd down and 9, Rodgers. This one a dangerous pass. And it's incomplete for Jordy Nelson. Aaron Ross almost stepped right in front of that one from Aaron Rodgers. It's 3rd and 9.
Yeah, I think that Aaron Rodgers knows that that was a pretty risky throw right there. And if he had not gotten that ball on the outside, on the sideline, you know, that could have been intercepted by Aaron Ross in return for a touchdown, because Aaron Ross was anticipating that quick throw. Very fortunate not to have something really bad happen there for the Packers.
See if the Giants can get pressure on 3rd down and 9. Blitz. Rodgers steps through it. Fakes a throw, and now he has got a first down for Green Bay.
Middle of the field opens up. Tuck had a chance to maybe make a play on Aaron Rodgers. You mentioned it earlier, Joe. Aaron Rodgers was the leading rusher in the last meeting against the Giants. He picks up a key first down.
Here's Cobb on the outside, spins through a tackle. He went right around Antrell Roll, brought down by Boley, a gain of 6.
Well, that's pretty demoralizing for a defensive unit to get them into long down situations, and you'll have the quarterback when there's good coverage there in the secondary and have him be able to scramble the way that Aaron Rodgers is capable of doing.
Word from the sideline is Chad Clifton is fine, just getting a chance to get a break. And now Rodgers keeps it and slides for another Packer first down. He's now rushed for 3 first downs here in this first half.
Well, and there was a miscommunication there in the backfield with Aaron Rodgers and James Starks, and you know, I'm not sure exactly why Rodgers decided not to give him the ball. Maybe it just didn't develop as quickly as he was anticipating, but instead he leads the way. And he got a nice gain out of the play.
Maybe that was supposed to be the play right there. Starks this time gets 3. Deion Grant on the stop. And we saw Jason Pierre-Paul go to the sideline prior to that last play, and they're looking at him over there. And we'll try to figure out why.
You see, he kind of gets tripped up there on Chris Canty, but Marshall Newhouse, as we mentioned, now in there at left tackle, and Jason Pierre-Paul is right where Newhouse wants him, because in that last game, Pierre-Paul had a nice outing against Marshall Newhouse.
Newhouse made 10 starts out there during the regular season. No pressure on Rogers. Starks dropped it. Started to look downfield before he made the catch. It's third down.
Well, that's the only way, really, that the Giants have been able to slow this Packers offense down is by some of the miscues by them. You know, they're not getting after Aaron Rodgers, and when they do get the outside pressure, we've seen him be able to scramble and get outside the pocket, and he's able to here, but James Starks unable to make the catch.
Talk about no pressure on Aaron Rodgers, all zeros. Rodgers has seen his group drop 3, and it's 3rd and 7. Stunt up front, Packers pick it up, another drop. That's Crabtree, and that's drop number 4. He had enough for a first down, but did not make the catch.
Well, just a good opportunity there for the Packers to be able to pick up the first down, and Crabtree unable to secure it. You know, the Giants defensively are given a lot of different looks, but it's not so much confusing Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't been able to drive the ball down the field like he would like. He's had to come underneath. They just have missed some chances to keep the chains moving.
First punt of the day by either team. And Mastay knocks it into the end zone. So tied at 10, 9 to play. First half, Giants at their own 20. Here comes Eli. We certainly miss a good friend around here, Lee Remmel, who is resting, and I'm sure aware of what the Green Bay Packers are doing this season after they won it all last year. Their longtime public relations director, former writer, the Green Bay Press Gazette for just under 30 years, been associated with this franchise for over 60 years. Here's Brandon Jacobs over the right side, and Lee Remmel and his wife Noreen, I'm sure, watching this game. Our thoughts with them. And then right into Napoleon Dynamite. And the 2-episode premiere is tonight. The entire original cast from the hit movie returns with all new adventures. And that's after Family Guy. Napoleon Dynamite tonight on Fox. Efren Ramirez, John Heder are here at Lambeau Field. Play action to Brandon Jacobs. All day for Manning. No pressure, and a big completion to Victor Cruz. 18 yards in front of Tramon Williams, and Eli Manning is going to pick this defense apart if the Packers don't get more pressure than this.
Well, you're going to see Eli Manning. Initially, he wants to go down the field. He's looking down the field, and then to his right. He works all the way back then to Victor Cruz. And, you know, Joe, you said it. If Eli Manning has time in the pocket like he just had, he will get to every receiver on the route. He is excellent at being able to go through his progressions, and what a throw he made on that play.
Here's a handoff to Jacobs over the left side. Brandon Jacobs gets 2. Zombo is in for the stop, and Clay Matthews, who has had a season with all kinds of small injuries, got hit by his teammate C.J. Wilson, and he came away limping, and now is sitting this series out. 2nd and 8. Blitz. Backpedaling, Manning throws incomplete for Nix, and Eli Manning ends up on the grass. 3rd down.
Well, initially Ahmad Bradshaw, he comes over, he picks up the Desmond Bishop, but A.J. Hawk, who also came from the inside position on the blitz. He's the one who got free and forced Eli Manning to get it out of his hand.
Green Bay defense had only 29 sacks during the regular season, 47 a year ago. And 5 in their last 6 games, trying to get pressure on Manning. 3rd and 8. Manning with time. Finds a man, Ballard, with a first down inside the 40. Too much time for Eli Manning, and he is picking this defense apart. Good for 17.
Yeah, another excellent job, really, by Eli Manning, because the Packers were disguising what they were doing. They pulled out underneath where he was initially going to go with the ball, and because he steps up, he works the pocket, he comes back late. Really a nice throw to Jake Ballard. The Giants have been very good here in this half on 3rd down.
Manning is knocking on the door of 200 yards passing already. Trying to get it out to Ahmad Bradshaw. Incomplete. Pickett was in Bradshaw's face. Let's go back 2 plays and see the shot Eli Manning took on that 3rd down completion.
Boy, right at the end of that one, he gets spun around, and then Bishop comes in from behind after B.J. Raji spun him. Hey, this is a tough quarterback, though, in there. We all know he doesn't miss games. And he takes a hit just like all quarterbacks do in this league. As much as they're protected, you still got to be pretty tough if you're going to throw the ball from within that pocket.
Clay Matthews back in the game. Here's Nix. Pretty good open field tackle by Tramon Williams. Not a bad pickup of 5 yards to make the 3rd down a bit easier with over 6 to go. Williams, who had a big playoff run for the Green Bay Packers last season.
And you wonder right now with where the ball is and the block kick that Lawrence Tynes attempted, you know, what Tom Coughlin will do here if they don't pick up the 1st down. I would have to think that if they don't get any more yards than they have right here, that he'll go for it on 4th down.
Be a 52-yard kick from here, 3rd and 5. Blitz again. Manning throws, and he's intercepted. That's Morgan Burnett. Throw got away from Manning, and Burnett knocked down just inside the 25.
Akeem Nicks is the guy who had to win on the route. They're in man coverage, and he doesn't win on it. Forces Eli Manning to have to throw a ball he didn't want to have to, and Morgan Burnett, playing deep, is able to make the interception.
Bishop forced it with his pressure. Packers led the NFL defensively with 31 interceptions. Morgan Burnett had 3 of them. He just gets one here. That's what this defense did all year. They got pressure there from Desmond Bishop, forced the throw, and Burnett was there waiting for the overthrow from Eli Manning. Delayed handoff. Starks picks up 1, and let's go back to the interception.
Well, the pressure by Desmond Bishop is ultimately what forced Eli Manning to get the ball out of his hands a little sooner than he wanted, but excellent coverage by Tramon Williams. As I said, Akeem Nicks has got to win on that route. He doesn't, and with the pressure immediately then in Eli's face, he throws it earlier than he wanted to. A ball that gets away from him. Morgan Burnett then right there to be able to make the interception.
319.
2nd down and 9. Rodgers keeps it, gets hit by Tuck. Picks up 2, 3rd down and long coming up for the Packers.
Well, I'm impressed with what I've seen of this offensive line, particularly there in the middle with Scott Wells at center and then the 2 guards, T.J. Lang and Josh Sitton. A quarterback does not like pressure inside. You can deal with the edge pressure, but you can't have it in your face. Think back to last week, Joe. The New York Giants were able to get great pressure on Matt Ryan in the middle with Linval Joseph and then Chris Canty. They've been unable to do that in this game on Aaron Rodgers.
Giants do not have a sack in this game. It's 3rd and 7. From with a 4-man rush. Rodgers throws, and the pass caught for a first down by Jennings. 9 9 yards and a first down for Green Bay.
This guy Aaron Rodgers he's really something. I mean, he's able to flush a little to his left, and he lays it out perfectly. The timing of the throw, the ball was out of his hands before Greg Jennings really got to the top of his route, and it was perfectly placed where only he could make a play.
Hand off to Kuhn. Ball comes out. Antrell Roll's got it. A fumble by John Kuhn, and Roll takes it down inside the 35. No doubt about this one. Knocked out. Roll on the recovery. And the Giants, in a tie game, have it inside the Green Bay 35. John Kuhn is in his 5th season out of Shippensburg, has never lost a fumble in the NFL until right now. And it was actually the backside of Bulaga, the right tackle, that knocked it out of his arms. Giants have their first takeaway of this postseason. And Manning gets a reprieve and finds Nix. Hakeem Nicks is out of bounds inside the 10 at the 6-yard line.
This is an excellent job by Hakeem Nicks at the top of this route against Sam Shields. The ball's thrown inside. He works back into the ball, expecting it out on the sideline, but he picks up the ball in flight, works back inside, keeps Shields from making a play on it, and then gets a pretty nice run after the catch.
These two teams traded field goals, then traded touchdowns. Now they've traded turnovers. And it's first and goal from the 5. Hand off to Bradshaw. And Bradshaw is brought down from behind. Tackle made by Matthews, a gain of 4 down to the 1.
Well, you talked about the way that the Green Bay Packers create takeaways, interceptions, and then they go after the football also. And Ahmad Bradshaw doing a good job of protecting it once he gets down there.
A guy who used to be known, Troy, as a fumbler. He's fumbled only 1 time this season. Move the ball back just a bit outside the 1. 2nd and goal. Here's Jacobs. He goes backward. And Desmond Bishop, who helped force that turnover the last time the Giants had it, made the play. Now 3rd and goal.
Well, I know Kevin Gilbride, offensive coordinator, they're wanting this ball run off tackle, but the Packers are there. And once they get Jacobs having to move laterally, it's essentially over.
That music means it's the 2-minute warning. 3rd down and goal when we come back. Eli Manning with a season high 228 passing yards in this first half. Is it in his hands on 3rd down and goal? Steps up, throws, incomplete for Ballard, who started that play wide to the left, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, they started him out wide and they motioned him down, and I thought that they were then going to try to throw the fade route to him, working against Jared Bush. They had a chance. It looked like, I couldn't tell if a hand got on that ball or not. Yep, just enough, because initially it looked like Jay Ballard might have dropped that ball, but Morgan Burnett with a big play getting a hand on it.
Coming off that interception. So Burnett with another big play, and now the 23-yarder for the lead to make it 13-10 Giants. Visa halftime is coming right up, and for a preview, let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, the guys will get together and break down the first half of your game, talk about the AFC Championship matchup, and we'll be joined by Vernon Davis, the hero tight end from the 49ers. That's all coming up on the Visa Halftime, guys, where it's a little bit warmer than it is where you are.
Good thing the season's almost over. They're running out of spots to shoot that little Visa halftime thing that they do.
No one was smiling more than Jimmy being in Los Angeles where it's good and warm. When you think about that last drive, though, Joe, with the Giants getting the ball down there, you know, we've spoken of their running game here over the last month of the season and the job that they've been able to do. They've not run the ball very well here in this first half, and even on 1st down with Ahmad Bradshaw picking up a nice gain, the loss there by Brandon Jacobs is what then set up the third in medium that forced him to have to throw it.
Yeah, that was the big play. A loss of 4 on 2nd and goal from the 1. Jacobs had that big 4th down conversion last week in their win against the Atlanta Falcons on a touchdown drive. This time he went backward, and it was a big play by Desmond Bishop. And this one hits the crossbar. And that means that Aaron Rodgers will start with it at his 20, down by 3, with 3 timeouts and 1:51 on the clock. And so far, as we welcome you inside the broadcast booth, it's been a fun game to watch.
Well, it's been good, and you know, we've seen some plays out of the defense, and every time something happens, you know, the onside kick, the Giants get the ball, then you get the blocked field goal. You get the turnover by the Green Bay Packers, and then the Giants are able to get the ball right back. And so every time something happens to where it gives the other team some momentum, the other team's been able to make a play to match it.
Plenty of time for Aaron Rodgers with 1:51. All 3 of his timeouts. Drops it off behind Coon. Just coughed it up the last time the Packers had the ball. Pressure by Ura on that 1st down play. And for a team that had that streak of winning 19 in a row, a streak, by the way, that was started with a home win last year in Week 16 over the Giants. 19 in a row, and they have led at the half all season long, down by 3. Rodgers, Finley, pass is caught for a Green Bay 1st down. 13 yards from Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers, he had to put something on that one in order to try to protect Jermichael Finley, and he did. And Jermichael Finley makes a nice catch with contact right after the play.
Contact by Deion Grant. Now on 1st down, Finley again. Little high-low on the tackle, and underneath it was Webster, a gain of 5. On 2nd and 5, Rodgers pushed out to his right, throws it away.
It's a good job really by Aaron Rodgers on the last play, that even with timeouts, he didn't use one. You know, a lot of times you've got these coaches that are very quick to call timeouts. A quarterback will, but knowing that, you know, when you have the clock running and you don't give that defense a chance to huddle up, it's really to your advantage. But the Giants do a nice job of getting pressure and not giving up any yardage on that play.
Hasn't been sacked, but he was pressured up the middle by Canty on that 2nd down play. Now 3rd and 5. Delayed blitz. Aaron Rodgers is sacked for the 1st time. And on the play, it's Michael Foley who puts on his belt. A loss of 3.
Well, you're going to see Boley right here, and James Starks is in a great position to make the play. He engages with him, but Michael Boley just keeps it alive. And they talked about it all this week, that when you get up to quarterback level, then try to level off. And you saw Aaron Rodgers try to escape the pocket out to his right. That's one of the things that he does very well. But because Boley leveled off once he got to the same level as Aaron Rodgers, he's then able to make a play on that. And that's a good stop by the New York Giants. Not easy to do when you get the Packers into a hurry-up, no-huddle offense and put the pressure on a defense to be able to make the stop here before the half.
Yeah, only 1 1st down on that possession, and now the Giants spend their final timeout. So with 48 seconds left, they're about to get it back. Mastay hits it, and it is a sliding catch by Will Blackman, another former Packer. Now 41 seconds remain. Take a look at the offensive leaders, and as I mentioned, for a half, the 1st half, that's a season high for Eli Manning throwing it. He's been hit a lot. but he has also had some time to sit back there and find the holes in this Green Bay secondary, and a lot of quarterbacks have been able to do that in 2011.
And again, I mean, it's kind of like it's been for him all season long, that he's essentially had to do it with no running game whatsoever.
Giants have only run it for 14 yards. They'll put it up here. Manning in trouble, and he finds Bradshaw, who gets around A.J. Hawk. He's brought down with a 9-yard gain. Mike Neal on the tackle. No timeouts remaining for the Giants.
Clay Matthews had Eli Manning on the ground. Eli tried to get up and get back so he could call the play and not have to burn his last timeout.
Timeouts are gone. And so now 3rd down and 1 with just 15 seconds left. And there's that previous play with Clay Matthews bearing down on Manning.
Yeah, Eli Manning just able to get the ball out. Of course, Bradshaw does a good job of picking up some yards after the catch. But the tackle, and then Eli trying to get back so he could call another play. I was thinking there was one more timeout left, Joe, but you're right. The Giants do not have any timeouts left, so they're going to have to be able to get this ball out of bounds.
And whistles stop that play. Timeout taken by Green Bay.
Timeout, Green Bay. They're first.
The weather is vastly improved from where we were in this booth and where those guys were down on the field, and these fans in the seats here in Lambeau, January of '08. And there's Tom, January 20th, and that was kind of a frightening situation. He was asked about it during the week. His face got more and more red as the course of the game went on. He said, what else can I do? I'm not going to wear a mask. And it returned to its normal color eventually. Although that face gets red easily. And it has nothing to do with a cold. He can get hot. 3rd down and 1.
You're looking a little better this time around, too.
That's right here. Here's Bradshaw. Gets the 1st down. He's got a long way to go to get out of bounds, and he will do it. How about that effort to get all the way out of bounds? He ran it for 23 yards and stops the clock with 6 seconds left.
Well, it's unbelievable because they're running the ball. They'd already shown before the timeout by the Packers that they were going to be content just running out the clock, and yet they come back with Bradshaw. There's no way they're anticipating Bradshaw is going to be able to get out of bounds, but yet here they are. And if they throw something quick and get out of bounds, they're going to have a chance for Lawrence Tynes field goal.
Be a 55-yard try from here, and now instead they're going for it all. The pass is caught for the touchdown. Unbelievable. Hakeem Nicks on a last-second heave by Eli Manning. The play that set it up. And then 37 yards to Hakeem Nicks for a remarkable touchdown here in Lambeau.
Really unbelievable stuff because of Ahmad Bradshaw being able to get out of bounds. It affords them one more play, and they decide to go with the Hail Mary into the end zone. They were then in a position for Eli Manning to have enough arm strength to get it up. And he does, and Hakeem Nicks, he pulls a David Tyree and catches one off his helmet.
Nicks, 5 catches, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns. Troy's got 4 touchdowns in 6 quarters this postseason. And for a secondary, and they're looking at this play, it certainly looked like when they review all scoring plays, he secured it going to the ground. He did. Troy, for a secondary that's been questioned all season long, has given up an NFL record, basically 300 yards passing per game. That right there is as bad as it gets.
Well, that's pretty bad. This right here is pretty bad.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed it is a touchdown.
But Joe, what I think is worse is the play before that with Ahmad Bradshaw. I mean, the Giants essentially said, okay, we're fine just running the ball and going in at halftime with a 3-point lead, and the Packers unable to make a tackle with him in play. I mean, pretty much inexcusable, and it affords, again, Eli Manning one opportunity because of where the ball was. I thought they may try to throw something quick to the boundary to give Tynes a chance for a field goal. Instead, they throw the Hail Mary, the likelihood of completing that not real high, but they come away with the touchdown.
And so what looked to be a 3-point game at the half is a 10-point game at the half with a stunned crowd here at Lambeau Field. Visa halftime coming up after this from your local Fox station. What a half for Eli Manning and Hakeem Nicks, and the Giants up 10. Hakeem Nicks, touchdown Giants. True for the touchdown. The pass is caught for the touchdown. What a first half here at Lambeau Field. You can follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. The Giants, who had 4 runs of 20+ yards all season, got a 23-yarder right after a Green Bay defensive timeout that set up that Hail Mary for the touchdown to Hakeem Nicks. The 37-yarder, which made it a 10-point game. And Aaron Rodgers will start at the 20. We go down to the field, and Chris Myers.
Joe, is a rather somber walk for the Packers into the locker room, but a little more spring in their step when they came back out. I asked Mike McCarthy about the drop passes, if it had something to do with the layoff. He said, heck no. In fact, that's what he emphasized to his team at the half. Fundamentals, which is something you shouldn't have to do at this point of the season, getting back to the basics. He said he will go back to the hurry up on offense, the no huddle. He'll mix that in the second half, but does not plan to start out with. Joe?
All right, and speaking of starting out, Prince Amukamara starts this second half out on the corner across from Jordy Nelson.
Green 19! Green 19!
On first down, they fake the handoff. Nothing there to his left, and Rodgers out to his right, comes underneath, and it's dropped again. This time Brian Taylor, a rookie tight end, down to the field again. Here's Pam.
Well, Joe, I asked Tom Coughlin, what does that Hail Mary say about his team's intention? It said it is just showing that we are going for it. We want to be more aggressive than them. I asked him about defensively the pass rush. Where is it? He said it is coming. I asked about the team's confidence as well, and he said defensively, as far as that pass rush goes, it is coming. We are also determined to get that going. Back to you.
All right, we'll see if it does show up here in half number 2, 2nd and 10.
Blue 58! Blue 58!
Again, they fake the handoff. The pass is caught for a first down, Green Bay, by Jennings, who, despite missing the last 3 games of the regular season, kept telling Aaron Rodgers all week, I'm fine, throw it to me.
Yeah, well, they come back, play action on first down, play action on second down. They get the completion then here to Greg Jennings. Interestingly enough, on first down with Prince Amukamara in the game for Aaron Ross, Aaron Rodgers wanted to work against him, but Amukamara held up very well on that first down play and looked for Rodgers to try to at least challenge him as long as he's out on the field.
Handoff is to Grant. Ryan Grant lost about half a yard. Take a look at the halftime stats, and you take out that 23-yard run by Ahmad Bradshaw, it's still low. The Giants were not able to run the ball at all in that first half. Not much from Green Bay either.
It is 14 yards rushing prior to that run by Ahmad Bradshaw. I got to laugh a little bit about Tom Coughlin telling Pam Oliver that, yeah, well, we're going to remain aggressive. The handoff to Ahmad Bradshaw wasn't really aggressive play calling, and I still believe they were just looking to run out the clock.
But it brings up an interesting point. Now 2nd and 10. Extra man on the rush. Packers pick it up, and the pass is behind Greg Jennings. And just to go back, I think you and I at the end of the half were looking for the same thing after that run. by Bradshaw. Something quick to the sideline, bring the field goal unit out. Instead, they did heave it to the end zone, and they get the 37-yarder to Nix.
Yeah, and what's interesting about the pickup by Bradshaw was that, remember the timeout that was called by the Packers. Bradshaw had gotten the handoff on that play, so the Giants had already shown what they were going to do, or at least what they were willing to do. They get the run again, and yet he puts them in a position to throw the Hail Mary.
Now Rodgers out to his right on third down. Going to take it, and yet again pick up the first down for the Packers. Needed 10, picked up 15. Jason Pierre-Paul walks back to the middle of the field with his palms to the sky. Like, what are we supposed to do about the running of number 12?
Well, Jason Pierre-Paul goes inside, and when you do that, they give Jason Pierre-Paul a lot of flexibility on how he's going to rush the passer, which is fine. The problem, however, is if he takes an inside path and there's no one to contain, you get the kind of runs you just got.
Here's Grant over the left side. Grant had that good run to start the day of 19 yards. But when I say they haven't really been able to run it, the numbers look better than they really are because of the running of Aaron Rodgers, who is the game's leading rusher with 40 yards on the ground.
And who was the leading rusher the last time these two teams met. And Aaron Rodgers said, when we visited with him, I can't be the leading rusher. You know, we've got to be able to get more out of the rushing game. And the reason he said that was because that would then take some of the pressure off of him in the pocket with the pass rush.
Now 2nd and 6. Here's Grant. A nice play is made by Linval Joseph, a gain of 1. And it'll bring up third down.
I do think this is an important possession, though. Again, going back to the events that took place at the end of the first half, that's a demoralizing event for a team going in at halftime, to have a Hail Mary completed on you for a touchdown, to be down by 10. Fortunately for them, they do get the ball here to start this second half, but I think this is an important possession for the Packers to do something with it.
No, heavy run. No, not run. 319. Oh! 319.
Rodgers in trouble. Moves to his left, floats it over the middle, and the pass is caught for a first down by Driver. And that's what makes Rodgers so dangerous.
Dave Collison in the middle. He's the one who misses Rodgers, and you get the late pressure then on the outside. Donald Driver running a dig route from the opposite side of the field, just keeps on the move, and a perfectly thrown ball with what was pretty good coverage by Kenny Phillips.
First catch of the day for Driver. Rodgers has found 8 different receivers. He's converted 5 third downs for first downs, 3 with his legs, now 2 with his arm. And on first down, a pump fake. He's stripped. Ball is out, and it is recovered by the Giants. Clifton had a shot at it. Grant comes away with it. And O.C.U. Minyura, who is about as good as anybody in the NFL, knocked it out.
He just saved a touchdown too, Joe.
Knocks it right out of the hand of Aaron Rodgers. And another Green Bay turnover. Last time Aaron Rodgers lost a fumble was in the wild card game in Philadelphia last year. Green Bay's turned it over twice. And up by 10, quick throw to Nix. And Nix, who's had a monster game, is good over the left side for 7, and we go back to that play.
Well, here's the strip, and then you're going to see we're going to be talking about this play for a while, because he knocks the ball out of his hands. And here's what Aaron Rodgers had on the outside. He runs a slant and go. Aaron Ross jumps the route, and you can see how open Jennings was for the touchdown. Aaron Rodgers sees it. He's about to throw the ball, but because of O.C.U. Minyura, they're unable to make the play, and the Giants get the ball.
For O.C., his 32nd career forced fumble. 32. 2nd and 3. Here's Jacobs. Little hesitant when he was handed the ball by Manning. Third down and short coming up as Jacobs gets only 1. Here's a guy, O.C.U. Minyura, who has 10 sacks in 10 games played coming in. He missed the first 3 games recovering from a knee operation. 4 games late with a high ankle sprain. Boy, did they miss him. He was not in the lineup when the Giants took on Green Bay at the Meadowlands early December. Handoff is to Ware, and Ware is brought down short of first down yardage.
I think that goes back to what Perry Fuel was saying last week, Joe, before we got ready for that playoff game against the Falcons, in that the way we plan on slowing down their receivers, now this was a week ago, is by our pass rush. Certainly that applies here today. That's a great illustration of it. Here you've got an open receiver down the field for what would have been a touchdown, but because of the pass rush by Osi Umenyiora, they're able to not only keep that from happening, but they get the takeaway and they get the ball.
And now the Green Bay defense makes a stop on Ware. It's 4th and inches, and the punt team comes on for Tom Coughlin. One good run, that's all the Giants have had, but it set up that last touchdown at the end of the first half. Randall Cobb, who was 7th in the NFL, averaging better than 11 yards per return, had one for a touchdown late. That, by the way, the first 3 and out for either team. Cobb from inside the 10. Spinning out to the 25. Big break comeback. Aaron Rodgers fresh off the fumble. Back on the field, down by 10. Through 2001, the Packers at home in the postseason had gone 13-0. Opponents averaged 11 points per game. They were plus 13 in the turnover differential. Since 2002, the Packers have been 2-3. Here at home, and opponents averaging 26 points per game. First loss here at home was to Michael Vick and the Falcons. Here's one aired out for Nelson, and it's broken up by Aaron Ross.
Pretty interesting on the outside. Aaron Ross initially looked like he might have gotten lost because of where Rodgers was. He's not anticipating the ball coming all the way back to the outside, and he got turned around, but he was able to locate the ball, and then actually was in a good position to maybe come away with an interception. You know, at that point, inside position on Nelson. Nelson was more of the defender than Aaron Ross was.
Ross was a question mark at the beginning of the week after he was in a collision with Jason Pierre-Paul last week. Slow to get up. We'll take a break. Come back. 2nd and 10. Packers during the regular season had 78 plays of 20 or more yards. They don't have one today. Longest play from scrimmage, 19 yards. 2nd down and 10. Handoff is to Grant. That will make this crowd happy as Grant gets 3. Jason Pierre-Paul on the stop. 3rd down and long coming up.
I think that's a good point, Joe, because yes, the Packers have been accustomed to creating big plays down the field. More importantly, I guess the Giants have given up a lot of big plays, but not in recent weeks. I mean, one of the real turnarounds for this defense has been that they have not given up the big plays, and they've continued to not do so here in this game against an awfully explosive offense.
Amukamara, the rookie, and Jordy Nelson at the top of your screen on 3rd and 7. And this play is shut down.
You know, the snap, number 63 offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
And you kind of touched on it a moment ago, but at what point do you look back on the 2-week layoff for the Green Bay Packers? You look at the Giants defense, the way they were rolling coming in, but this is as bad as this group has looked this season, at least a little off.
Well, and I think that as this game goes on, then obviously there's more and more pressure that's put on this team, and you know, they had the ball moving pretty good there early with the drops, but you know, since then they've just been out of sync.
3rd down and 12. Pass is caught by Driver. What a catch, and enough for a Green Bay 1st down. They go back to the old veteran.
Yeah, they got Jaquan Williams, the linebacker. He's in man underneath coverage. He's got safety help over the top, and You know, that's good coverage too. You would think that that's a real mismatch with Donald Driver against a linebacker. Jaquan Williams is probably their most athletic linebacker, but Donald Driver is able to get enough separation. More importantly, a pretty good throw there by Aaron Rodgers.
Leading receiver in Packer history is Driver. Pump fake, and now over the middle, Grant drops it. Another drop, and Grant got popped at the end of it by Deion Grant.
Well, Aaron Rodgers wanted to throw it to his left. Antrell Roll comes up on the blitz. He gets in the throwing lane as he gets up in the air, and Deion Grant was right there and anticipated the throw. And yeah, that's tough on a running back when you're not expecting to get hit quite like that as soon as you get the ball thrown in your direction.
6 drops, 13 incompletions on the day for Aaron Rodgers. Those factored in, and now under pressure. Here is a screen. Starks. First down and more out to the 49.
Jaquan Williams again is in a position. He reads the screen. Right here, number 57. He reads the screen, and he's the guy who has a chance to come up and make the play. He had to take a different angle. He couldn't get squared up on Starks because of the lineman coming out to block. That was a nice first down for the Packers.
Normally you're talking about Rodgers spreading it out. He's done it again today. He's found 9 different receivers. That one to Starks. Now a toss to Starks. And Starks is down the sideline. Cuts back inside and has a first down outside the New York 20 at the 22.
Balaga's going to lead the way, and you got a block down here, and that's what then seals the edge. You got the seal to the inside. Brian Balaga, the tackle, he pulls out, he kicks out, and puts James Starks in the secondary.
Starks, who became a star last postseason, started with that wild card game at Philadelphia, good for 29, and the longest play from scrimmage for Green Bay today. On first down. They stick with a hot hand. Starks picks up 5.
Well, the Packers finally getting some things going with their running game, and as that continues to develop, expect to see some play action then by Aaron Rodgers. These linebackers have got to be able to honor this running game with some of the success that we're now seeing, and that will then open up the intermediate throws for Rodgers.
Second down and 5. This time it's Grant. And Grant picks up nothing. Jason Pierre-Paul on the stop. The Packers are inside the red zone as John Kuhn is carried off the field. Aaron Ross, we saw earlier, left with cramps. His return, they say, is probable, and he's grabbing at the back of his right leg in the calf area. Packers are 1 for 1 inside the red zone so far today, and scoring a touchdown. They're faced with a 3rd and 5. Late substitution with Tollefson getting on the field late. This one floated in the end zone for Jennings, incomplete. Coverage by Antrell Roll. And now on 4th down, Crosby will check in to try and make it a 7-point game.
They go man-to-man and got Antrell Roll on Greg Jennings. You know, so obviously Rodgers sees that, and he knows that that's a pretty favorable matchup for the Packers. A well-thrown ball by Rodgers, drops it in there, but Jennings unable to make the play.
35-yard try. High snap, and this one is just inside the right upright. Crosby good from 35. It's a 7-point game here at Lambeau. It's a 7-point game. Aaron Rodgers Looking at the pictures, John Kuhn has to get carted off, the Pro Bowler. He has a touchdown in this game. Jernigan waits for the kick. As Crosby knocks it out of the back of the end zone. Take a break, come back. Eli Manning and this Giants offense up 7. Back to work. Get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL to get the action right on your phone. Giants have had it only once since the touchdown to end the first half. They've run 3 offensive plays. On first down, delayed handoff, Bradshaw. Over the right side, and a flag comes in late. Bradshaw got 3. Woodson on the tackle.
Holding, number 76, offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Right guard Chris Snee is guilty of a hold.
Yeah, they got Chris Snee, right guard, against Ryan Pickett. Just as Pickett is trying to come off then and make a play on Bradshaw. That's where they got the call.
Now 1st and 20 from the 10, and this crowd is louder than it's been all day. Trying to set up the screen, it's not there.
Good decision there by Eli Manning because they wanted to run the inside screen. They show it as though they're going to run the conventional screen to the outside, but then slip it back underneath. But Clay Matthews, he reads it and recognizes it, and all Eli could do really was throw that one away.
2nd down and 20. Blitz. Giants pick it up. Manning finds Bradshaw. And he slides down inside the 15 at the 13, a gain of only 4. Matthews was there defensively. 3 minutes to go. Quarter number 3, it's 3rd down and 16.
Well, give the Packers credit there on that play. The Giants were able to pick up the blitz, and Eli had some time. Just couldn't find an open receiver.
Just a 3-man rush. Manning gonna chew up some yardage, but slide down short of the first down at the 25. Pepper there, and it's a 3-and-out.
They go with a 3-man rush, and Eli had open field out in front of him. Hesitated just for a moment. Had he have gone after it a little bit more aggressively, maybe he's able to get some more yards out of that and pick up the first down. But a good stop by the by the Packers, and a costly holding penalty then on right guard Chris Snee.
Good job by this Packer defense to force back-to-back 3-and-outs. And a real good job by Weatherford, who is applauding himself coming off the field to keep it away from Randall Cobb. We know that the San Francisco 49ers will be in the NFC Championship game next week. First, there was Montana to Dwight Clark. Then there was Steve Young to Terrell Owens. And then yesterday, Alex Smith to Vernon Davis. And in a game that featured 4 lead changes in the last 4 minutes, Alex Smith proved that he could win a shootout as he did over the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, at the end of that game, the 49ers end up beating the Saints at their own game. And that being a high-scoring finish. When they had to have a play, Alex Smith was able to deliver.
319.
Toss to Starks running right. Play got strung out, and Blackburn makes the tackle, a gain of 1. You know, you start thinking about what Perry Fuel has done defensively, the coordinator who was under fire a good part of the season. Blackburn has got that arm hanging as he comes off to the sideline. Against the Jets, they allowed 14 points. Against the Cowboys, 14 points. No points defensively last week. And they're holding a team that averaged 35 points per game here today to 13 almost through 3 quarters. 2nd and 9. Rodgers out of trouble to his right. Does not slide, gets a hit at the end, and has enough for a Green Bay first down.
I like what Aaron Rodgers does right there. One, he's able to get the yards, but instead of just running out of bounds, he isn't taking anything for granted. It's 2nd down, but he does what he has to do in order to pick up that first down. To go back to your point, Joe, I do believe that the Giants deserve a lot of credit defensively for the way that they have played. Having said that, the Packers have missed out on a lot of opportunities in this game, including the latest drop that would have been a touchdown to Greg Jennings.
Handoff to Starks running right. That should end this 3rd quarter. By the way, the Packers have 7 rushing first downs in this game. Aaron Rodgers has got 5 of them. He had that latest one, and that'll do it for the first 3 quarters here at Lambeau. 7-point game. The Road Warrior Giants up by 7 after 3. Back after this from your local Fox station. 15 minutes left to decide whether the 49ers have a home game against the Giants or have to travel to Green Bay. 7-point lead for New York. 2nd down and 6. Fake the handoff to Starks. Rodgers wide open, Nelson. And Jordy Nelson gets hit inside the 45. Working on Corey Webster, a gain of 17 yards.
And we mentioned it earlier in the game that Jordy Nelson's the guy that Perry Fuel was most concerned about because of his big play ability. That's one of the reasons why Corey Webster is playing him as soft as he was on that last play. Not wanting to give up anything down the field, and as soon as you have that ability then as a receiver, it sure opens up a lot of things on the intermediate routes.
First down Packers, down by 7. Play action from Rodgers. Finley knocked out of bounds, and a good play by Roll.
An excellent play by Roll, and a good job all the way around, because I'm sure Perry Fuel's over there holding his breath a little bit. Anytime Aaron Rodgers gets outside the pocket with time to look at the field, he has such a strong arm, even when he's rolling out to his left, that he can make the deep post throw, and that's where they were hoping to go with the ball, but good coverage there by the secondary.
Giants will tell you that Aaron Rodgers makes you defend every blade of grass, no matter which way he's rolling. Rodgers over the middle for Starks. And Starks spins to the 39. 3rd down coming up. Let's go down to Pam Allen.
Well, Joe, safety Deion Grant has been taken to the Giants locker room. He's being looked at for a possible concussion. Although the Giants are unsure at this point, he is undergoing tests at this time. Back to you.
All right, last time we saw him was that big hit he put on Ryan Grant. 3rd down and 5. This is where Aaron Rodgers has been at his best running the ball.
And Amukamara right now, he's lined up opposite of Jordy Nelson.
That's at the bottom of your screen. On 3rd down, Rodgers slings it wide open and incomplete for Finley. Absolutely left alone, and Aaron Rodgers missed one. They're going to go for it on 4th down.
I mean, Jermichael Finley couldn't have gotten more open. There was nobody there even close to him, and I think he's anticipating. You see that he's upset, that he was expecting Jermichael Finley to break that off a little bit sharper. That's just those are the types of things that happen, but as open as Jermichael Finley was, I don't know that Aaron Rodgers had to try to throw a fastball like he just did.
4th down and 5. Play clock was reset. Stepping up, Rodgers cannot get away. And a stop defensively for this Giants defense as Foley gets in there to make the stop. So a hold by the Giants defensively on 4th down. They got some pressure, and this time Rodgers could not get away. Aaron Rodgers missing on that 3rd down throw. Sacked on 4th down. This is only the Giants' 3rd possession of the half. They've had 2 3-and-outs. Nix gets around 1 tackle, went right around Woodson. And Hakeem Nix over the right side picks up 6.
You're going to see Finley coming in from that part of your screen, and this was the 3rd down play that was missed. And Finley throttled it down just a little bit, but I think that based on what he saw and really what Aaron Rodgers should have seen, that should have been an easy completion. I put that more on Aaron Rodgers than I do Jermichael Finley, but if they make that play, they get the 1st down, and they at least come away with a field goal attempt. That was a big miss by those 2 guys.
2nd down and 4. Jacobs pushes the pile, picks up 3. Hakeem Nix is the first Giant to have 4 touchdown receptions in a postseason. He's got 2 today, had 2 against the Falcons, and a 165-yard day on 7 catches. It's 3rd and 1.
Well, we've talked about it before. I mean, they've got a lot of different guys that can step up and make plays and beat you. And once again today, it's Hakeem Nix. They've had trouble running for 1st downs all season long for 1 yard.
On 3rd down and 1. Quick throw and a completion. And the first down of this 2nd half belongs to Manningham. And a big 1st down for the Giants on 3rd and 1.
Yeah, just soft coverage on the outside, and Tramon Williams, that is, and you know, they're thinking that maybe Clay Matthews can take away the slant from his position, but he can't take away the outbreaking route. So that was an easy 3rd down conversion on 3rd and 1.
To the 38. Good pocket for Manning. Pass bounces in, but a flag. Tramon Williams on coverage with Victor Cruz.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 38 defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
A hold on Tramon Williams.
Yeah, that's where Eli was going with the throw, and at the top, he grabs Victor Cruz and keeps him from getting out of the route. And I think that's why the throw looked as bad as it did, that Eli saw that Cruz could not get out of the break and essentially threw it away.
Jacobs runs right into Eric Walden, picks up 5. That's about as hard as Jacobs has run this entire game. A guy that they've been able to count a lot more on here down the stretch.
Yeah, he finishes this one. You know, Walden tries to tackle him high. He's not the type of back that you can get down to the ground that easily. A lot of players come in and try to tackle him low, but then you're dealing with hitting the head by one of those thighs, and that'll put you on the sidelines in a hurry.
Giants right now in field goal range for Tynes. A 45-yard try from here. This one in the air, tipped up by Woodson, I believe, in the direction of Ballard. And that'll bring up 3rd down.
A lot of bodies there in the middle, and a couple of them were Giants players too, and Beckham gets banged up, and so he's not able to continue on the route, but When a ball gets tipped up like that, we've seen it all season long. These guys are ball hawks, and the Giants are fortunate that that ball doesn't get intercepted.
Now 3rd down and 5. Biggest 3rd down of the day for the Giants. Pass is caught. Victor Cruz. And Manning again hangs in and completes it for 11 and a 1st down.
I think this is one of the reasons why Dom Capers has been so frustrated throughout this season. Charles Woodson is communicating out here, and as he's trying to talk to Sam Shields, they're trying to relay what the coverage is. There's a miscommunication, and they're not all 3 guys over there, that is. Sam Shields, the safety, and then Charles Woodson on the same page as far as what coverage is, and they turn him completely loose.
You see Eli, who got a hand to the face and got hit from behind. Victor Cruz is slow to get off the field, and they look at him. Manning, another big 3rd down completion. The drive continues for the Giants, up 7. Eli Manning over 300 yards, throwing it for the first time in his postseason career. Bear pass goes slipping. He was in motion on 1st down. It's Bradshaw. And Ahmad Bradshaw on the left side gets 3.
Kind of interesting right here. You know, Kevin Gilbride said that he wants to remain aggressive, and that's how this offense operates best. Of course, they're working against the clock a little bit here as well with a 7-point lead where they are. Obviously, they want to come away with a touchdown, but 3 points here is huge to turn this into a 2-possession game.
2nd and 7. Cruz back on the field at the top of the screen. On the ground with Jacobs. Burnett, nice play. And a tackle in the open field. He did go low, a gain of only 1.
I thought Brandon Jacobs could have put his foot in the ground right here and just tried getting north and south and either make Morgan Burnett make a play on him with his shoulder squared to the line of scrimmage or even make him miss. But when Brandon Jacobs starts running laterally, he is not nearly as effective a runner. I thought he could have gotten a lot more out of that play, but you know, now here we are at 3rd down, and for the Packers, they're hoping they can get one of those takeaways that they've gotten so many of this year.
How aggressive do the Giants want to be on 3rd and 5? Manning. Sacked. Brought down by Jones. A loss of 5. And the first Packers sack of the day.
Yeah, good coverage by the Green Bay Packers, and Eli Manning does the right thing. I mean, there's nothing open down the field. You cannot afford to force anything. As I said, he knows how big these 3 points are. Taking a sack was not a big deal at all. It added a few yards to this kick by times, but nothing that they can't overcome.
35-yard try. Tynes makes it. And Lawrence Tynes makes this a 10-point game. Giants on top, on the road for Tom Coughlin. It is the NFL on Fox and the playoffs divisional weekend, and Aaron Rodgers looks up at the scoreboard and finds himself down by 10. Under 8 to play. Short kick. On a hop, it's Shields. And Sam Shields, who has great speed, trying to get to the edge, forced out short of a 30. This month, Fox returns to the Octagon with an incredible UFC Fight Night triple header. Some of the UFC's best fighters will battle for a shot at the title, headlined by former light heavyweight champion Rashad Evans and undefeated Phil Davis. Those 2 explosive middleweight bouts. UFC Fight Night on Fox. Triple header live from Chicago, Saturday, January 28th at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Aaron Rodgers with a quarterback rating of 82.2. Only time he's been down around 80 was the only loss for Green Bay at Kansas City. Flips it for Grant. Deion Grant good for 5 down to the field, and Chris Myers.
Well, Joe, Aaron Rodgers, the frustration simmering beneath his surface, and not just over the drops, over his play, the lost fumble and some missed throws, but pacing nervously after that last defensive stand, turned to his receivers on the sideline with encouragement, said, let's go, paraphrasing here, it's go time, we got to score.
Chris thanks, 2nd down and 5. It's Grant. Grant shakes 2 tackles. Out to the 45, ball comes out. Knocked out and returned by Webster. That's a live ball, and it's the Giants' ball at the Green Bay 4.
Yeah, a strange sequence here at the end, but it looked to me like the ball, yeah, it sure did. It looked to me like the ball did come out. The officials do a good job of not calling him down. Kenny Phillips comes up and knocks the ball loose here from Ryan Grant as he's making the play. And another turnover by the Green Bay Packers.
That was Chase Blackburn on the return, not Webster. Knocked out by Kenny Phillips. And for a team that turned it over a total of 14 times all season, they've given it away 3 times today. And it's Blackburn on the return. Brought in mid-season to shore things up at middle linebacker, and with under 7 to play. Play action. Manning slings it. Touchdown Manningham. And a quick strike after the takeaway. A 4-yard touchdown throw, and Eli Manning with 3 touchdown passes on the afternoon and evening.
Play action, they get the linebackers up. A.J. Hawk is the only guy then who can really make a play on that underneath, but Eli waits for Manningham to get to the next window, and he's got to step then on Tramon Williams, and a great throw by Eli Manning.
And this extra point makes it a 3-score game. First the fumble, and it was Kenny Phillips that knocked it out. And then Eli Manning, his 3rd touchdown pass. What a day. He's had some good ones here at Lambeau. Look at the numbers this postseason for Eli Manning, and then consider his postseason career on the road. He has a career road playoff record of 95.8 in the quarterback rating, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception coming in. You can add 3 more touchdowns to that, and just 1 more interception. And here on the road at Lambeau, where he and the Giants won in January of '08 to win the championship game and go to Super Bowl 42 in that date against the New England Patriots. He's trying to get the Giants to the championship game in San Francisco. It has been a day of missed opportunities for Aaron Rodgers and this Green Bay offense. There have been 7 drops, including one not too long ago by Greg Jennings, officially ruled a drop. This miss on a 3rd down, and then Rodgers sacked on 4th down. His last action prior to this game was on Christmas night against Chicago. This one's knocked down. Jason Pierre-Paul got a hand on it. And this defensive effort has been outstanding by the New York Giants.
Well, they have, and you know that the Green Bay Packers, when this one's over, they're going to look back and you see 7 drop passes and 3 lost fumbles, and think of what could have been, but a lot of that has to do with the way that the Giants have played also. This is an offense, as we said, it's a big play offense. They're used to moving the ball very well, coming away with points, and as this game went along, it's an offense and it's a quarterback that became more and more frustrated with that inability to do so.
2nd down and 10. Rodgers has to come underneath, and slipping and falling is Ryan Grant, now 3rd down and 10. And with a score 30-13, a 17-point game, as we said, a 3-score game with the Giants on top, under 6.5 to go. Aaron Ross and Deion Grant both back in the lineup for the Giants on 3rd and 10. Rodgers needs a completion. Gets around Umanura. Can't find anywhere to go. And now throws downfield, tipped and incomplete. Deion Grant got a hand on it. Pass was intended for Driver, and Rodgers needs help getting up. There is a flag down in that area.
Roughing the passer. Number 72 defense. Blow to the head. First down.
Now that's a huge call. It gives Green Bay a fresh set of downs. They said blow to the head. And that personal foul will move the ball forward 15 yards, and instead of 4th down, it's 1st down.
That's amazing right there. I don't know where the blow to the head is. Umanura barely really hit him. It was just that once he did, then he fell into tuck, and Bill Levy is right there watching the quarterback, and his job's to protect him, but that was a bad call.
And now on 1st down, Rodgers throws it away. Little too high and wide for Jordy Nelson, and Rodgers is just simply, this offense in no way has resembled what we came to appreciate during the regular season.
No, and I think if you go back to our visit with them yesterday, you know, I mean, a lot has happened this week, of course, but I thought when we visited with the coaches and players that, you know, you said it coming into this game, Joe, very somber, and a lot of that obviously had to do with what happened to Joe Philbin's son. But emotionally, they just didn't seem like the type of team, at least from a #1 seed, going into the divisional game as you would have expected.
Here's Cobb, and the rookie Cobb has got a 1st down just inside the 41. That was Greg Jennings we showed leaving the field. And now the Packers will hurry up. This drive helped by that personal foul called on the hit to Aaron Rodgers. Here's one dropped by Jordy Nelson. And it's been that kind of day really from the beginning for this Packer offense.
Hard to explain, really. I mean, we talked about it in that first quarter with Jermichael Finley. I mean, he had a couple of drops early in the game and how that has plagued him for much of the season. But, you know, Greg Jennings has had his share, obviously, in this game. And then when Jordy Nelson's not making the easy catches, you know something's wrong.
8 drops in this game for Green Bay by 7 different guys. And now Rodgers will run and has plenty of room. Does not slide, instead stays upright inside the 25. And a 16-yard run by Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers is again the leading rusher for the Packers, now 66 yards on the day. That's a career high. On 1st down, underneath it, Starks. And Starks is to the 16. Brought down by Jaquan Williams.
Well, look at how much time's on the clock with over 5 minutes, and you know, if they're able to get a score here, as we've got a Giants player on the ground, it's like Chris Canty. But if they're able to get a quick score here, it's you know, still a 2-possession game, but it certainly puts a little bit more pressure back on the Giants.
It's Deion Grant and Jermichael Finley that started that. Deion Grant with his helmet on the back of his head, and those two started to shove. It never escalated. And they're looking at Chris Canty, who, Troy, has been so good up front. This is as good as Chris Canty has ever played for a long stretch in his NFL career that started with the Dallas Cowboys. So they look at the legs of Canty. Take a break before a 2nd and 1. We're looking for the final piece of the puzzle. It was a big win for the Patriots last night over the Broncos. We know the 49ers are in for championship weekend. The Ravens earlier today. Now will it be the Giants or the Packers? Canty needs a lot of help to get off the field. It's a 2nd down and short for the Green Bay Packers. 5:10 left. And regardless of the down, they need to take a strike toward the end zone here as the clock runs under 5 to go. End zone. Pass is caught for the touchdown. Donald Driver. And the Packers are not finished yet.
They got man coverage, and Donald Driver's going to come through the middle. The guy who picks him up then is Michael Boley, and not bad coverage. It's just that he's got his back to the ball, and Aaron Rodgers knows that, so he throws it off of his helmet so that Donald Driver can locate it and get the touchdown. But again, a big call that shouldn't have been by Bill Levy on the roughing the quarterback against Osi Umenyiora.
And if you go back in the first half, a non-fumble call that led to a touchdown. They look at this now, and it's reviewed as all scoring plays are. They're calling that catch good for the touchdown. But with 6:18 left, it was a blow to the head on Osi Umenyiora that allowed the drive to continue. And as the drive continued, it ended up in the end zone on the touchdown throw to Donald Driver. Now 4:46 remaining in this game. We welcome you inside our broadcast booth. I'm Joe, that's Troy, and well, you know that the Green Bay Packers won't go quietly, and they got exactly what they needed thanks to that drive being extended because of the penalty on Umenyiora.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't get that call, this game's essentially over, and now still a lot has to happen. But by the Packers taking advantage of the call and get the touchdown, now they put a little bit of urgency back into the New York Giants, because they're going to have to be able to do something with this drive, try to take some time off the clock and not give it right back to the Packers and put their defense back on the field.
Green Bay still has 3 timeouts remaining. We saw that good throw from Aaron Rodgers to Donald Driver. The other side of the ball, the Giants offense and what they've been able to do under Eli Manning. It was over 300 yards for the first time in his postseason career. He's got quite a rooting section here today with his dad Archie here. His brother Cooper is here. And they have fond memories from that cold game here, January the 20th of 2008, when Eli Manning, Lawrence Tynes, here's the onside kick try, and it's Victor Cruz fighting for it. It went through 2 different Giants, and Victor Cruz was there. Did he secure it? He did. And so for the second time in this game, an onside kick try that does not work for the Green Bay Packers, and Victor Cruz, who's been so good for the Giants this season, is there to recover for New York.
And thankfully for the New York Giants, Spencer Paysinger, he was there. He was the first guy, number 55, that could have secured the ball, and it went right between his legs.
At some point you figured, Troy, you're going to have to onside kick it. It didn't need to come there with 4:44 left now. And Green Bay, with all 3 of their timeouts, they hand to Bradshaw. And if nothing else, the Green Bay Packers now have given the Giants a short field, and even if the Giants don't move the ball, they should, with a foot of Weatherford, force the Packers to take it down a long field as we look ahead to next week. And the 49ers, will they be at home against the Giants, or will they be on the road here at Lambeau Field? The next 4.5 minutes will determine that. 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, right here on Fox.
I thought the onside kick was worth it to go back to that point, Joe. And Mike McCarthy, he makes the call, and with it being a 10-point game, give yourself a chance to recapture possession of the ball. And if you don't, your defense is going to have to make a stop regardless. Yeah, maybe you give up a little bit of yardage, but even if they were to give up a field goal, as long as it happens quickly, it still remains just a 2-possession game.
Green Bay used a timeout. 4:37 left. Bradshaw, nowhere to go. And the play is made by Pepra. And a timeout taken by Green Bay. They have only one left, but now it's 3rd down and long. We'll call it 3rd and 11. Tom Coughlin wondering what his Giants can do up 10 with 4.5 to go. As we look at a game summary. Eli Manning, there's his day. 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Hakeem Nicks, 7 catches, 165 yards. 2 of the catches for touchdowns. Today for Aaron Rodgers, fumbled the ball. One of 3 fumbles lost by the Packers. They've also dropped 8 passes. 3rd and 11. Five-man rush. Manning down the middle. And another 3rd down conversion. It's Victor Cruz, good for 17 yards. And that could very well seal the Giants' trip to San Francisco.
You got Charles Woodson there, and Hakeem Nicks draws him up on his shallow crossing route, and that opened up a nice window then for Eli Manning in behind it to Victor Cruz. A nice 3rd down conversion. And you know, Eli Manning, the numbers speak for themselves, but I think he's done just an outstanding job in this game. I hate using the term manager, but he has really managed the situation and has done an excellent job.
Yeah, and he's made some big completions on 3rd down. Here's Bradshaw just trying to hang on to the ball and now has room to run. Ahmad Bradshaw down near the 10. Brought down by Clay Matthews after going around Raji, a gain of 24. And one of the Packers is slow to get up. That's Pepra. And a big run by Bradshaw. Here's the missed tackle by Raji.
Yeah, you get into this situation of the game, and clearly the Packers know that they're going to run the ball. Bradshaw's going to get it, but you know they've really broken the spirit here of the Green Bay Packers by everything that has happened. And to go back to what I was saying about Eli Manning, he's made a lot of nice throws clearly, and that's reflected in the numbers. But I go back to the sack that he took when they had a 10-point lead, knowing the situation. Might have been a 7-point lead at that time.
That's
but
right.
They made it into a 2-possession game, and just those types of things that don't really show up in the stat sheet, but they're what championship quarterbacks do. And he handled everything, I thought, beautifully in this game.
1st down and goal. Toss to Jacobs. And his objective is to stay in bounds. Pepper on the stop. You're right. And when we talked to him a couple of weeks ago, he talked about some of those decisions. He said, in years past, I have forced the ball when I didn't need to. And he has grown in that category as he's matured as a quarterback and taking that sack, not forcing it, allowing Tynes to make it a 2-possession game at the time, a 10-point game. And well, they're just riding the defensive front and the play of Eli Manning this postseason, and about on their way officially to the 49ers next Sunday night. Here's Jacobs cutting back, getting to the edge. Jacobs is in for the touchdown. From Brandon Jacobs. Bradshaw helps set it up. And his partner in the backfield, Brandon Jacobs, carries it in. What a showing on the road by the Giants. Tom Coughlin brought out that term that he coined back in 07 about road warriors, and they have done it here today, leading by 17 with 2.5 to go.
Well, here's the run. They're just going to run it, start it anyway, off tackle to the left, but Brandon Jacobs cuts it back. The only one then left to make the play is Charles Woodson, but Tom Coughlin has been unusually calm during this game. And heck, he even has something to smile about. But you think about it, Joe, teams just are not supposed to come into Lambeau Field and beat the Packers in playoff games, but yet now in the last 6 games played here, they've lost 4 times, 2 of which have come from the New York Giants.
Had a Giants fan waiting for a leap. Didn't get it from Brandon Jacobs. And by the way, Tom Coughlin, who is in his 8th year, joined the Giants in 04, won Super Bowl 42 in 07. They lost in the divisional round to the Eagles in 08. They hadn't been to the playoffs in 2009, 2010. They're on their way to their 4th straight win. It started with a win over the Jets. And as John Mara, president and CEO, said, that really reinvigorated the franchise. And with a combination of Coughlin and Eli Manning, they'll be 6-3 during the postseason. And it would be the 4th postseason road win for that combination, of course, plus the neutral site and the win in Glendale, Arizona in Super Bowl 42. Cobb on the return. A return of 24 yards. We go back to the last time the Giants and the 49ers met in the playoffs, January of 03. Back and forth it went. And you remember the snap. I know we do. And that launch downfield, and the 49ers with Garcia and Terrell Owens, a 1-point win. And now we will see that matchup yet again, barring virtually the impossible, as Jordy Nelson makes the catch, good for a first down. Webster defending.
You know, you say we'll see that matchup again. You're right, Joe, and we were there to call that game, and it was a well-played game. It was a game that the Giants ended up losing, but they played well and very easily could have won it. And I think both of these teams, that being the New York Giants and the San Francisco 49ers, are better today than they were at that time. That's going to be a heck of an NFC Championship game.
Yeah, and we were there also earlier in the season when the Giants were out in San Francisco. As the 49ers won that game by 7, but another well-played, good game. And the Giants showed something that day as Human Europe gets the sack. And he adds to his streak, as many sacks as games played this season. You remember that game, the Giants were coming off that win at New England and almost got a win on the road at San Francisco. And boy, did the 49ers show something yesterday. That is a hard-hitting defense. As this catch is made, no fumble as the ball came out when Starks hit the ground. And we're at the 2-minute warning here at Lambeau. What a day for Eli Manning and the Giants, leading by 17. 1:56 left. They have to go back before that streak when the Packers put together 19 straight wins to find their last home loss October 17th of last year. Only 1:56 remaining. 3rd down and 15. And the pass is batted in the air and intercepted by the Giants and Deion Grant. And this has been a smothering, overwhelming effort by the Giants defense against a team that averaged 35 points per game offensively this season. Another turnover as we look at the replay, and what a catch by Deion Grant.
Really nice play there by Deion Grant. And I think the assist should go to Michael Boley, who had an opportunity the first time, and then Deion Grant comes in and is able to secure the interception. And now we'll see Eli Manning just take a knee.
How about the Giant defense? 4 takeaways, 4 sacks. And with no timeouts remaining, the Green Bay Packers, the defending Super Bowl champions, will not make the conference championship game next week. You have to go back to 04 to find the last time a Super Bowl champ in either conference got back to the championship game the following season. That streak will continue. And the Giants and their turnaround defensively has been remarkable under Perry Fuel and Tom Coughlin.
Well, this is going to be a long offseason for the Green Bay Packers and Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers. And, you know, when you have the season that they have, to put yourself in a position to be the #1 seed throughout the playoffs and not be able to do anything with it, and more importantly, to look back on this game and know that you didn't give your best effort. Probably the worst performance the Packers have had all season long. You know, of course, we know they only lost the 1 game. But this is going to be a hard one to swallow, and one that they won't forget.
This is 3rd down, so 1 more snap. And just to give you the numbers, the Giants defense, the first 14 games, the team had a record of 7-7. They were allowing 385 yards per game, 27 points per game. The turnaround the last 4 games has been nothing short of remarkable. And the Giants have advanced to the NFC Championship game with this win here at Lambeau. They'll take on the 49ers next Sunday night. We'll take a break and come back here and wrap up a big day for the Giants, who celebrated Lambeau. Back after this.